So we were able to show that the frequently asked questions page works. If I go back here to Chrome, we were clicking on our different answers and questions, and they were pushing us right down on the page where we needed to be. But I kept having to drag back to the top to get to the top of my page to get back to my questions. It'd be pretty nice if we didn't have to do that. So let's fix that. Here I am back in design view, and this is our first question. Yep. So we're going to click at the end of our first answer, residual graphite from a pencil. Graphite is harmless if consumed. And I'm going to hit the enter key to add a new line, and I'm going to type back to top. Now, when we first created our page, we gave our questions are in a div, and this div at the top has an ID of FAQ question. So that means that we can link to our questions, right? FAQ question, # FAQ question. So if I want to go back to the top, all I need to do is highlight this text back to top. And for the link, I'm going to give it a link of # FAQ question, question. Now I'm going to go to my second question. Where does the lead in pencils come from? So we have a long explanation, and this is the end of our question. Has endured to this day. So I'm going to click after the word day. I'm going to hit enter to add a new line, and again I'm going to type back to top. I'll highlight that, and again, what am I going to link it to? #. Right? We're going to link it to our ID of FAQ question, because that's the ID of the div that has all of our questions at the top of the page. Now our last question is, what does the HB on a pencil stand for? I'm going to go to the very end of my answer, no more, fine, or easily, and I'm going to hit enter, and again I'll type back to top, and again I'm going to highlight that, and what are we going to link it to? We're going to link it to, let's go back to our DOM panel, our very first div that has an ID of FAQ question. So under link, I'm going to put # FAQ question. Now you may have noticed that we have not been using target equal to blank. We always use target equal to blank before, because previously when you clicked on a link, something new was opening in a new page, or we were going to a different page. In this case, we're staying on the same page. We don't want to keep opening up new pages every time somebody wants a question to an answer. So we're not changing our target. That's why we're not adding anything else, because we want people to stay on this page. So I'm going to hit F12 to save it. Do you want to save the changes? Yep, and let's just test this out now. I'm going to go, what does HB on pencil stand for? We click on that. It takes us down to our answer, what does the HB on pencil stand for? If I click on back to top, it takes me back to my answers, right? If I go to my second question, where does the pencil and lead come from? We have all of our answer, and we read down. Now we click on back to top. Now we're back to the top. We'll click on our first question, which is, of course, very nearby. But it does take us to our first question. When was the pencil invented? Here's the answer. If I click to back to top, it takes me right back to the top. Now this is obviously super handy if we're working on a mobile device. I'm going to expand the page. If we're working on a desktop device, we can pretty much see everything all together. So this functionality is really key, though, if you want to have a mobile-friendly page. So let's get back to Dreamweaver. What we'd like to do now is improve the way the page looks. Not only can we make the page look a little bit better, but I think it's going to be a little bit more useful, because it'll be more understandable to people when they visit the page if we can group this content in some way that makes sense, and group it using some visual tools. So let's go to Live View. And the first thing I'm going to do, I have my questions, and I have, these are all anchors. Yep. So I want to make these stand out. I want to add a little bit more flair to my styling for these questions. And I'm going to create a new selector. I'm going to go to Styles, and I'm going to go to Global. And let me go ahead and make sure I have one of these questions selected. Right, this is in my first div. It's my FAQ question. I'm going to click on this anchor. Okay. And so I'm going to add a new selector. Let me see, does it show over here? Here we go. I want to make sure I have that anchor selected. I used my document object panel to help me out. So I'm going to add a new selector. So I've got style selected. We're working with our global, and I'm going to click plus for a new selector. So we get a selector, and our selector is FAQ PA. So what this means is this is a selector for content that's inside of div with an ID of FAQ question, right? We're talking about stuff that's inside of the FAQ question. We did something like this when we did our gallery page, and we had an ID of photo gallery, and then after pound photo gallery, we used the HTML tag of IMG for image, and that way we were able to target all the images inside of our photo gallery and resize them and have them spin around. In this case, we're targeting anchors. I'm going from right to left. Anchors, which are the links, anchors that are in paragraphs, and all of our anchors are in paragraphs because we put everything in a paragraph first, that are inside of this div FAQ answer. So this is exactly what we want. So I'm going to hit enter, and now I'm going to do a little styling. I'm going to go under my text properties, and I would like my questions to be bold. So I'm going to go down here to font weight, and under font weight I'm going to select bold. And when I do that, notice how all of the questions in our div that has the question ID, all of those questions are bolded. Now, since they're anchors by default, since they're links, they get that underline property. I do not want the underline property. So I'm going to go to text decoration and choose none so that we don't have that little line underneath. And then maybe I'll choose an interesting color for the text. So I'm going to go look at my colors, and how about this? This is one of those colors that we originally were generated for us from the Adobe Creative Color. And I'm going to hit enter. And now we've got something that sort of helps our questions stand out on the page. Let's add that transition property. Remember, we added the transition property on the photo gallery page, making the pages, the icons, the images spin around, or adding a little bit of a delay before they resized. In case we need that for later, let's go ahead and add in that transition property. So under more, I type in TRA transition, and then we want to use all, and then we want to give it one extra value. After that last L, I'm going to hit space 0.5s. So we'll add in a half-second transition time. Okay, good. And I'm going to hit save all. And we need to do some more styling, but this is probably a good place to take a break, and we'll come back.